Hello, and welcome to Nottingham College's #1 music podcast, The Song Central. I'm your host, Ruby Hemsley, and today we have a very crucial topic to talk about, something that has been a huge focus within the arts in recent years, a subject that isn't going away anytime soon. I am on about the threat posed to the UK's independent and grassroots music venues and the challenges they have been facing, but particularly, could this issue start to affect Nottingham's music venues too? There have already been losses of music venues since COVID in this region, but the situation doesn't seem to be disappearing anytime soon, and there is a constant looming cloud over the heads of grassroots venues that they could be next, with a lack of funding, rising costs, and a cost of living crisis constantly knocking on the door of the industry. I decided that the best people I could speak to about this would be the owner of one of these independent venues, and someone who since 2017 has worked within Nottingham's biggest independent music festival, who hosts this in over 50 venues across our city, to both give their insights and answer the big questions. But of course, the most important question, with the turmoil in the industry, are Nottingham's music venues under threat? First, I had the pleasure of talking to the owner of Nottingham independent music venue The Grove, Cameron Warne. He opened the doors 18 months ago in Sneinton Market, bringing a new life and buzz into its avenues. They play host to upcoming and independent artists from a whole variety of genres, each performance intimate within the venue's 92-person capacity, an enjoyable night of entertainment for a reasonable price. There are still over 40 events on the lineup for this year, with everything from gigs to meetups and magazine launches. Recently, though, he has gone through the struggles of what are now the typical struggles that independent venues are having to face, with the risks of potentially having to cancel 4 gigs in a single week at his venue. I talked to him about a wide variety of subjects, including his experiences as a grassroots venue owner and what he thinks needs to change for them.
My favourite part of being a director at a venue is just seeing such high quality artists, both local and touring acts, that want to play here. Helping them put on a show and then bring people into the room to share that experience is always really special, and during their sets is the time that I get to sit back and actually enjoy the music rather than just trying to keep on top of emails and spreadsheets. It was really hard having to consider cancelling shows. If we don't get tickets being bought in advance, then we have no idea how many people might turn up, and we have to discuss with the artists that are booked to decide if it's worth going ahead or saving everyone time and travel costs and cancelling or postponing the show. No one at this grassroots level is doing it for the money, but artists, promoters and venues can only take on so much risk before it becomes unsustainable. I've picked up a lot of new skills and I'm still learning a lot as I go. How to manage staff, how to manage a bar, programming, promotion, trying to keep on top of venue maintenance and all the tech stuff, as well as running the events themselves, and everything that goes in hand with that is definitely a lot to juggle day to day. I've been playing in bands in Nottingham since 2016 and it's definitely shaped who I am today. A lot of my approach to live music as a sound engineer comes from the musician's perspective and making sure they feel comfortable and have everything they need to perform, and that's pretty much how I run the venue too. I think all we really need is for people to come to shows regularly, get a ticket to support the artists and bring a friend and buy a drink to support the venue. We're applying for Arts Council funding as well, but it's really competitive and nothing's guaranteed. So far, the Grove is entirely independent and self-funded. I think the main advice I'd give to artists and promoters is just to immerse yourself in the local scene as much as possible by meeting other artists and promoters, collaborate as much as you can, go to each other's shows to show your support, and a lot of it will be reciprocated when you need a favour or some advice, or if you want people to come to your own event.
Since 2020, over 300 independent grassroots music venues have permanently closed in the UK. In a single year alone, the music sector saw a record loss of over 10% of its total venues. It was also reported at the beginning of this year that over 6,000 jobs were lost in the sector in 2025. According to a charity that operates in the industry, the Music Venue Trust, 53% of grassroots venues made no profit last year, and the average profit was 2.5%, an alarmingly low number. There has been contributions from big names in the industry, such as Sam Fender donating his £25,000 Mercury Prize winning money to the MVT, but this simply isn't enough. These venues need to be supported more by everyone, not just the government or charity funding, but within local communities too. After our first interview with Cameron, who has experienced being at the forefront of the struggle that small venues face, I decided it would be a good idea to interview someone who operates in a variety of these independent venues, such as a festival, and tap into our local community. And thankfully, we have a community-led festival right here in Nottingham. It has been running for 20 years this year, and last year alone they played host to over 400 different performers and over 50 venues. They have also raised £230,000 for charity since they began, with over 20 charities supported. It goes by the name of Hockley Hustle. I talked to Christine Cacciari, who has been working with them since 2017 across all their Hustle events, including being a producer for the Young Hustlers event, which has given her an insight and allowed her to champion our future generation of musicians and brighten up the streets of Nottingham even more with its rich culture. She is now someone who works at the college too, so I got in contact with her for a quick chat and talked to her about her time in the Hockley Hustle.
I think young people, I don't want to say they're the future, but it's true. I think through young people learning to express themselves only can our cultural, our creative industries grow. And at the moment we're seeing quite the opposite happening with venue closures, etc. It is a tough time for the grassroots industry. The more of that creativity we foster in young people, the more we let them know it's okay to be creative, to have an outlet beyond traditional workforce, then the more this culture will thrive. I think the fact that we get thousands upon thousands of people out in the street with a sense of purpose and community for the day, because they're raising money for charity, we've got people that volunteer for us, but also in terms of revenue, these venues are open on the day. They have an onslaught of visitors. Is onslaught the right word? It probably sounds like a negative word, but I mean they have a lot of visitors on the day. They are spending money, so buying drinks, and that keeps those venues alive. But the idea that we are creating this day full of culture and vibrance, there is music, there is performance, there is a shared feeling of community. We are doing something for Nottingham charities together.
What do you think the future of live music looks like, and how do you think it would affect grassroots venues, particularly in Nottingham?
I think maybe the best way, rather than what I think it would look like, is maybe what I hope it would look like. I hope that everything is revitalized to an earlier point in time. I think right now the ecosystem of how musicians make their living, how their music is found, how, I think way back when, I'm aging myself here, you used to be able to play a local gig, someone records you, there's music on MySpace, YouTube, maybe you're played on the radio, just that timeline was more linear, whereas now there's a lot of streaming services, there's a lack of people being able to go and enjoy music. That's all the negative stuff. So I guess I want to go back to that. I want to go back to a time where people were going out specifically to just discover music, going out to engage, and then our venues wouldn't be at risk for shutting down. Because unfortunately money makes the world go round. The more that we're buying tickets for local artists and they're able to tour and we are promoting and their music, listening to it, the more we're visiting our small venues and helping them thrive. That's the future I hope for.
Two interviews, one showing in-depth first-hand experience and the other placing insightful knowledge inside our minds of what our venues are going through and what their future could be like. It is so vitally important for us to support our local independent and grassroots music venues, as they are the backbone of our nightlife economies. Without them, friends wouldn't be able to meet, sing and dance away from all the stress that humans face, even if it is just for 15 minutes. Without them, it would take away the euphoria and healing of seeing your favourite artists live, screaming their music like there's no tomorrow. Without them, the music industry would fall apart, as all its artists start from somewhere, and a lot of the time that is in these venues. Being a music artist is rewarding, but also a roller coaster, especially when your stomping ground is demolished and there's nowhere for your talent to go after the studio. Even if you've never heard of that artist, attend that gig. It takes one person to make waves and set an example for the rest. That could be you. You could change someone's life by buying that ticket and letting them sell out that venue. It means more to them than you could ever know. I've been your host, Ruby Hemsley, and thank you so much for listening to the Song Central podcast. Catch you next time.